Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
And it's 5:06 on this Memorial Day Monday in your nation's capital. Good morning. We are live for O'Connor and Company. It's the 27th day of May. I feel like I need to do the audio equivalent of holding up today's front page of the Washington Post. Julie Gunlock, just to prove that we're here, but we are. We're live and we're up and at it just like all of you. And we're proud to be here on a day like this. We'll have lots of reflections on our nation and on those who gave the ultimate sacrifice to keep us as free as we are. Also, Memorial Day brings with it a lot of different discussions about what it is to be an American and the greatness that our nation represents on this planet. And we'll get into all those conversations starting at 6:35 with Gabriella Hoffman, who has some insights onto what really is now becoming the criminalization of patriotism, on this full frontal assault still on the Appeal to Heaven flag controversy, which is not a controversy at all. But also there's other flag controversies getting sparked right now about the American flag at a construction site up in Alaska. It's unbelievable. We'll tell you, yeah, you can't fly an American flag when you're a construction worker on a national park. We'll get into all that at 6:35. Also, 7:05, come rain or shine, Joe DeGeneva will always be here on Mondays. 7:35. We've got Marian Watkins. She's the Chief of Staff of the Honor Flight Network. 8:05, presidential historian Jane Hampton Cook. And then at 8:35, Alex Kershaw, that's the spokesperson for the World War II Memorial, celebrating its 20th anniversary today. That's a lot. And, well, speaking of a lot, Julie Gunlock's a lot.
Jeez.
Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
I've got to think of Memorial Day weekend with 3 teenage boys. And, of course, your husband, who is a grown-up teenage boy. It's got to be fun, especially when we have the beautiful weather that we had here over the week. We are going to get a little rain rolling in today, but really, what a pristine weekend here in the Mid-Atlantic. And yes, of course, we pause and take plenty of time to think of our military and the sacrifices they made, but we also celebrate and enjoy the beauty of our nation and the freedoms that we have that was the reason for that sacrifice. So.
Yes, and we did
long way of saying, what'd you do this weekend?
Yes, we did just that. I celebrated Memorial Day by ordering my children around and getting yard work done.
Excellent.
So, which we had been putting off. Spring is a time to clean up and get the yard ready. And, now that the trees have fully come in and the bushes are sort of fully, in full. Yeah. There was a lot of trimming, a lot of mowing, a lot of, cutting of branches. Anyway, they were thrilled, Larry, to be doing that. And it was, look, we have a 3-man, group of kids that, 3-man crew, essentially, and we can get a lot done. But yes, it wasn't anything super special. But at the same time that we were doing yard work, my husband was smoking a big old pork butt. So we were rewarded at the end of the day with these delicious pulled pork sandwiches.
I am lucky enough to be on the receiving end of your husband's text messages to give frequent. We do this. He got me into the whole Weber charcoal smoking game. And so when either of us have a project going on the Weber, we send each other alerts. You guys always
text throughout the day, and you guys always keep me on these texts.
We do. We include you in it.
I don't need to be on these texts.
Look at my butt.
It's
look how
just
smoky
barbecue,
my butt's getting.
It's just barbecue porn, and you two are just going at it, and I can really be left off. But whatever.
It was good. It looked damn good, I got to say. You did
What'd
a good
you
job.
do?
Well, we are having the extended Annapolis commissioning week sort of celebration. Friday was commissioning day for the class of 2024 at the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, and that was phenomenal. What a celebration, and of course, incredible to be able to reflect on those graduates of the Naval Academy and all the members of the fleet who have fallen in service to our nation, and also dedicate this group of 1,050, I think was their total, as new young ensigns and second lieutenants to step up and continue the tradition of keeping our nation safe. It was just a phenomenal experience. One of the graduates, Brendan Smith, is we were lucky enough to be able to sponsor him over the last 4 years, and we had his whole family from Missouri up to the house and had a big party Thursday. We had commissioning Friday. The celebrations continue throughout the weekend, and
That
so we had
is so fun.
and some of the young men that we sponsored last year who graduated, who have been in the military now for a year as officers, came back up because they all know Brendan. They're like his big brothers.
Oh.
So we had Colton Higgins, who is doing flight school in Pensacola, up for the weekend, and Adrian Johnson, who has been at Quantico this whole time. He came up and spent the weekend. He's still with us, actually, at the house. So it's
These are
actually
great kids.
The one young naval officer that was not able to make it was, of course, my daughter. She's still she's on duty down in Charleston, South Carolina. So we sent her a lot of pictures throughout the weekend. But she's actually going to make it up here 2 weekends from now. So we're looking forward to seeing her.
Nice.
Anyway, it was just a very busy, lots of family, lots of celebrations, lots of parties, lots of official
Now you
events
had
at the
a
Naval
party.
Academy.
You had a party at your house, and you smoked some pork as well, and had a big buffet.
It all
Isn't that
gets
right?
back to the pork shoulders, doesn't it? We did. We served over 100 people, and I did five. I did 5 pork shoulders. I didn't do them on the grill though. I
Was
sort
it
of
enough?
cheated. It was. We still. In fact, if you'd like to come over and have some pork after the show, we'll head back over to my place. We do have some pork going. But it was great. We did the Hawaiian style, like
Nice.
Kahlua pig. So it's not like on a smoker where it gets sort of, dry and smoky. And this is more like a moist pulled pork, low
wow.
temperature, 8 hours, lots of juices. Good,
Nice,
really
Nice.
good. Serve it with rice or maybe with the Hawaiian rolls. I'm hungry. Is it too early to eat? We have to run over to the vending machine real
We
fast.
could have some. What did breakfast tacos? We could be Jill Biden and have some breakfast.
Yeah.
Tacos.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Si se puede. Si se puede. Oh, did you? Speaking of that, I mean, we'll play the audio for you a little later. But Joe Biden spoke at the West Point graduation at their commissioning, and it was an embarrassment again. Thankfully, so I have to say,
I just feel bad for these grads.
yes,
that's
exactly.
their commit.
Well,
I mean,
it's a good lesson in discipline. You have to respect the commander in chief, no matter who it is.
Yes.
And he made a suggestion. I'll read you what he said. I'm having trouble finding the video of it, but I'll read you what he said. The Washington Post reported on it, where he made an allusion to, protecting us against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and he linked it back to Trump. I'll explain coming up in a bit. And but he lied again. He told that lie that he got an appointment to the Naval Academy. But they had Roger Staubach, and I wanted to play football, so I didn't go. It's like there's literally no record of this. There's usually a paper trail of things like that.
Oh my gosh.
And by the way, also, why would you tell the grads at West Point that? The last thing they want to hear is anything having to do with Annapolis.
Because he's such a narcissist. It's always back to Joe.
Well, at the Naval Academy, we had Lloyd Austin. Of the choices that we had, it was going to be the president, the vice president, or the secretary of defense. And last year was Lloyd Austin, and this year was Lloyd Austin, which is very strange. I don't know. There was some weird decision here where Austin was back-to-back. You remember Biden was Air Force last year, and then he tripped and fell down on the stage. And for some reason, they decided they wanted Biden at West Point this year instead of at – but he was supposed to be at the Naval Academy this year, and he didn't go. Lloyd Austin was there, did a fine job, lost a lot of weight. He's had an illness.
Oh, I know. Yes.
He is really, really – I mean, it's weird 1 year apart, seeing him a year ago at this time and then seeing him this time. He was fine. And unlike the president, he stood the entire time and shook the hand of every single new officer as they came up to get their diploma. Biden had to go run into the shade and protect himself. I don't know. Anyway, a fine Memorial Day weekend was had by all. And there's much more today on Memorial Day itself, and we'll be talking about those things, too. And first, though, it's 5:15.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Live.
From the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios.
Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
WMAL. Making sense of the roads. Because traffic doesn't always follow the pattern. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
And I'm looking at when the precipitation is supposed to roll in today. There's a 76% chance of showers. That's the highest percentage chance as the day rolls on, right at about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And Coincidentally, that's exactly when the parade in D.C. will be kicking off. 2 p.m. is the National Memorial Day Parade. The good thing about being in this area is no matter where you live, you've got a Memorial Day Parade close by. Rockville, their parade will begin at 10:30 this morning after a musical tribute starting at 9 a.m. But there's a parade in Falls Church. There's a parade in Bowie. There's, of course, Annapolis has a great parade down the historic Main Street. There's also usually there's some kind of federal military cemetery near wherever you're living, or for that matter, if you're in Northern Virginia or out in the Frederick area, in Western Maryland, you've got a battlefield that you could go and visit. That's sacred ground. So I say it all the time because it's true. This is the greatest place on the planet to honor the fallen and to acknowledge and spend some real time, not just focusing on Memorial Day, but also, most importantly, educating your children about what this day is really about. And there's no reason not to. And I've never met anybody who has gone out and, gone to one of the battlegrounds in the area or gone down to D.C. or in one of these local areas around D.C. and say, oh, gosh, I wish we hadn't done that. It's like, oh, why don't we do this every year,
Yeah.
So today is the day to do it. You can get all that information. There's, wherever you're living, one good thing about Google, just literally Google Memorial Day Parade closest to me and get your butt out there.
Yeah, and I really do think people need to consider actually taking a day off, and not. I mean, yesterday we did yard work. Today we're hoping to do something.
You realize that you and I are working right now. Right?
I know, but do take a moment, especially if you have kids, to tell them what this day is about. It's important.
Yeah, it's funny because the academy graduation that I spent so much time out this weekend out in Annapolis isn't specifically a Memorial Day observance, but it is. And you spend time during the ceremonies, obviously thinking. And in fact, this graduating class had 2 members of their class die over the course of the last 4 years. So there's always a time, there's always a moment to stop and actually recognize those who have paid this price. Paid the ultimate price for whatever we're doing. And yes, even if you're having the day off and you are going to the beach or you're going on a hike or you're doing, have that conversation with your kids. Talk about, other people around the planet don't do this kind of thing. They don't have the opportunity to do this, and it's because they haven't had a military that has been as strong and has made these sacrifices over the 240 years we've been here.
Yeah, and if you're sort of wondering what you can do, or maybe you haven't researched, what can I do on Memorial Day? There's always an organization looking for help placing flags on the graves of these soldiers. And that is a lovely thing, too. I just want to give a shout out. In Alexandria, Virginia, there's a Vietnam War Memorial dedication at 9 a.m., 110 Callahan Drive in Old Town, Alexandria. They'll be placing a plaque dedication ceremony there. So, again, It's the city's monument to its war dead, right there at Union Station, a little train station in Alexandria, Virginia. So that's where I will be, and I hope everyone finds something in their local area.
And, of course, a friend of this program, Emily Dominich, she started during COVID to work with the Travis Manion Foundation. She goes and visits. If you're unable to go to Arlington, if you're infirmed, if you can't get out of the house, if you've got people who live all around the country and they can't visit their loved one's grave, she will go find the grave at Arlington, take a picture, and post it on social media. And she's been doing that all weekend with a big crew of people and volunteers through Travis Manion Foundation. There's something. There's no reason not to take advantage of the place that you live right here in the Mid-Atlantic, in the D.C. area, and really do what's right and focus. And by the way, I recognize that you have hustle-bustle lives. Trust me, I'm a parent of 4 children, and I know what it's like when they weren't all teenagers or young adults. Anywhere you are today, you can have that conversation with your kids. And then tonight, watch the concert. The Memorial Day concert will be on PBS, and it's always a great event. And they've got a great lineup tonight, including, as always, actor Joe Mantegna and actor, the tireless, unbelievable saint, Gary Sinise.
Yeah.
So take a look at that as well. Either way, from us and our family to yours, a very happy and important and reflective Memorial Day to you. We got a lot coming up as we continue our observance too, including coming up at 7:35, the Chief of Staff of the Honor Flight Network. At 8:05, presidential historian Jane Hampton Cook, and then at 8:35, Alex Kershaw to talk about the very special 20th anniversary of the World War II Memorial right here in Washington, D.C. Right now it's 5:23.
Making sense of your world.
There are a lot of things that really tick me off.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Making sense of the news. Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It is 5:37 now on this Memorial Day, and we're live with you this morning. I'm glad that we can be a part of your Memorial Day observance as well, and we've got plenty ahead. Starting at 6:35, Gabriella Hoffman, Independent Women's Forum, on another flag controversy, this involving the American flag. We'll tell you about it in actually just a couple of moments. Then at 7:05, Joe DeGeneva. 7:35, we've got the Chief of Staff of Honor Flight Network. 8:05, Jane Hampton Cook, presidential historian. And then at 8:35, we've got the spokesperson for the World War II Memorial, celebrating its 20th anniversary today. I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
So first we have the left trying to criminalize patriotism by suggesting that displaying a flag from the American Revolution, one that George Washington designed for the first private fleet of ships that became the United States Navy, that's the Appeal to Heaven flag, that in some way that's a criminal activity, that it's racist, that it's insurrectionist, that it's, what did I see the New York Times called it this weekend? I think it was MAGA warrior flag. Oh, no, that was a senator. Senator Whitehouse called it a MAGA warrior flag.
The guy who's part of a whites-only club.
That would be correct, a whites-only beach club that we've known about it for years now. He still somehow can't figure out how to quit that club. You know, I could write the letter of resignation for him. Dear sirs or madams, I no longer want to be part of this club since it's racist. Signed, Senator Whitehouse. Somehow he can't bring himself to do that. But yes, if you fly a flag that was part of the American Revolution, it's a MAGA war flag, a MAGA battle flag. This one is Old Glory herself. You know how construction crews, often at the top of their cranes, they have an American flag up at the top? I love that, actually. I think it's a very cool tradition.
Yeah.
I don't know where it started. I feel like I first started to really notice it after 9/11.
Yeah.
But it's just a very cool thing. Most construction crews do this. They fly a flag on the top of a crane or maybe on the top of the scaffold where they're doing their work or something, and it's just a very patriotic thing because construction workers are kind of patriotic people.
Yeah, funny
Well,
that way.
They were ordered at a construction site on a national park, the Denali National Park in Alaska.
Yeah.
They were ordered by a little park ranger trying to do her best, Smokey the Bear, to take the flag down because it was, how did she put it, disrupting the park experience for visitors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you
and this
kidding
is the
me?
park. This isn't just a ranger. This is the park Denali's superintendent. She is the head of this national park, a significant national park. I mean, it is. Denali is,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Denali Forest is incredible.
Yeah. She ordered this. So again, it wasn't like a park ranger who went a little rogue. No, she's setting the policy of the park.
Yeah.
That these construction workers were somehow, messing with the aesthetics of the park by displaying an American flag.
First of all, it's a construction site, so there's already going to be some disruption to the aesthetics of the park.
Right.
Secondly, it's a U.S. federal park. It's a national park established by Teddy Roosevelt at the time as a patriotic thing that all Americans can enjoy about being American in America. The American flag is the most appropriate thing to have in that park, other than maybe, leaves. Senator Dan Sullivan of Alaska has already penned an angry letter. They're good at penning the angry letters to the National Park Service demanding an explanation. I wish in this letter, though, I request that you immediately investigate this incident, figure out exactly what transpired. I wish he would remind the director of the National Park Service, Chuck Sams, about the federal funding that taxpayers provide and that Senator Sullivan could easily turn off in an instant. That construction site where you didn't want the American flag, how about we halt that construction project right now?
Right. Can I also just add, it's radio and we don't have pictures, but if I just can add some descriptors here. The superintendent of Denali is a woman named Brooke Merrill. Brooke is a white woman. And I don't know, Larry, what's going on with white women in this country, but the minute I saw this story, I knew it. I was like, white woman, gonna be a white woman, gonna be a liberal white woman. I swear they're gonna get us all killed. There's that story I know I'm going off.
Did she drive up in her Subaru Outlander?
Yes. And she probably is wearing a Pride T-shirt. Okay.
Take that flag down.
Yeah, and she's looking to trans as many kids as she can. I mean, honestly, what is going on with white women in this country?
Funny you should say that. Our friend, your coworker, Gabriella Hoffman at Independent Women's Forum, she's an outdoors woman. That's sort of her brand, man. She loves hunting. She loves fishing. She loves the great outdoors. She loves the National Park Service. She did a little research on Superintendent Merrill that you're discussing. She told these are the ones who told the construction workers that displaying an American flag doesn't, quote, fit the park experience. But she makes sure that everyone who goes to the Denali National Park knows about their diversity and inclusion programs there.
Yes.
That apparently does fit the park service experience. She gave an interview to the Anchorage Daily News. We've got a really engaged staff on this topic here. We've got a lot of opportunity to make strides in the area, and I think just looking at what we've been able to accomplish with effort in terms of seeing an equitable number of women in leadership roles, we know we can achieve the same result with other areas of diversity and inclusion in the National Park Service. So that'll certainly be an area of emphasis for us this coming decade. So maybe, I guess the question is an American flag really taking away from the diversity and inclusion experience?
It's interesting, Larry, too. It's not just DEI that this woman is pushing. She is apparently hyper-focused and really obsessed about climate change. So she's just the whole package, Larry, the whole package.
Yeah, I would like to remind Ms. Merrill that when she sees that American flag, instead of immediately getting triggered by it and seeing a banner or an emblem that takes away from the park experience, she should in fact see in the Stars and Stripes the men and women who are paying her salary, who under that flag dutifully pay their federal taxes to keep Ms. Merrill employed on a daily basis. We pay for that park experience, and I, for one, like to have the flag displayed on a construction site or anywhere. Would you tell somebody walking through the trails carrying an American flag with an American flag patch on their backpack that shouldn't be there? This woman is a disaster. And we'll hear from Gabriella Hoffman at 6:35, who's done a deep dive in researching her. That's coming up. Right now, it's 5:44. It's 5:49 now, O'Connor and Company, live here on this Memorial Day. Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Hey, Julie, you know how our criminal justice system is set up in such a way, really ever since the Magna Carta here in Western civilization, and really amplified and brought to what close to perfection in the United States of America. It's set up in such a way where the accused rights are protected at every step of the prosecutorial process, right? I mean,
That's
this
right.
goes back to the days where tyrannical kings could just take your freedoms away from you, take everything that you own just because they had the power. And Western civilization, from the Magna Carta to John Locke to the founders of our nation, looked at the individual's rights to be paramount, and those rights should be protected every step of the way. That way you know that an innocent person isn't being persecuted by the power of the state, right? I mean, I'm not revealing anything new here. Well, then let's talk about the Trump cases right now, where the Justice Department is coming down like a hammer on Donald Trump, a person who is innocent until proven guilty. Last week, Donald Trump, the accused in the classified documents case, learned with the rest of us that the search warrant included FBI orders to shoot to kill if necessary. when carrying out the raid on Mar-a-Lago. Well, Donald Trump, the accused in this case, whose rights are protected at all costs in our system of justice, as I just explained, Donald Trump voiced his surprise and displeasure at the fact that he and his son and his wife were in potentially harm's way.
Mortal danger, yeah.
During the raid on his home.
Yeah.
Well, Special Prosecutor Jack Smith will have none of that.
Right.
None of that uppity, accused, innocent until proven guilty person decrying the federal government's raid on his home with guns a-blazing. Jack Smith now wants the judge in Florida to place a gag order on Donald Trump so he's not able to comment about law enforcement or about the tactics of the Justice Department against him. You just shut your mouth and you just let the government do whatever it wants, is Jack Smith's position.
Well, I tell you, Judge Eileen Cannon is a real thorn in Jack Smith's side. She does not let this stuff stay hidden. She has exposed so many documents that have revealed, and I just want to give a shout out to Julie Kelly, who exhaustively goes through these documents. I mean, my goodness, the work that she's put in to reveal exactly what these documents contain, which is, again, sort of the shoot to kill orders. One of the funniest things, Larry, and I'm sure you picked up on this as well, this weekend was this sort of desperate attempt to normalize it. You know, shoot to kill orders. That is just standard boilerplate.
Yes, it's SOP.
SOP. And I loved, I saw one commentator say, but maybe standard operating procedures when it's a former president shouldn't be, like, maybe we should actually say, this is a special situation, especially when this guy has armed security, including another federal agency that's assigned to make sure when nobody does shoot to kill. Yeah. So the attempts, again, to normalize this were almost as frustrating or as shocking as the revelation that they had shoot-to-kill orders in the first place.
Yeah, if I may add, the FBI and the DOJ was just following SOP. I've got another initial for you. How about BS? It's 553.